Here's an example of solving a quadratic equation using the square root property. The square root property simply means that we're going to take the square root of both sides using a plus or minus sign. Okay, our equation is 4 times x plus 2 squared equals negative 12. Now, before we take the square root of both sides, we probably want to get this set of parentheses by itself. In other words, I want to divide both sides by 4. Dividing both sides by 4 gives me x plus 2 squared equals negative 3. Our next goal is to get rid of that exponent of 2. The opposite of squaring something is taking the square root. So we're going to take the square root of both sides, making sure to use a plus or minus sign in front of the square root of negative 3. Okay, the purpose in taking the square root was that we wanted to undo that exponent of 2, so our left-hand side simplifies to be just x plus 2. Now to get x by itself, we want to subtract 2 from both sides. This gives us x equals negative 2 plus or minus the square root of negative 3. Now we've isolated x. This is our solution, but it's not simplified yet. Look at our square root. Notice the negative 3 under the square root? This means that we have an imaginary number. We can simplify this imaginary number by splitting that square root of negative 3 up into square root of negative 1 times square root of positive 3. That square root of negative 1 can be replaced with an I. So our solution is x equals negative 2 plus or minus I square root of 3. That really represents two solutions. One with a plus sign, another one with a minus sign. Okay, now we need to check our solutions. Let's go back to our original equation. 4 times x plus 2 squared equals negative 12. And in place of x, I'm going to put the solution that I found. Okay, these parentheses around the negative 2 plus I squared root 3, they're not really adding anything mathematically. So I'm going to take those parentheses away. Okay, now notice we have a negative 2 and a positive 2. Those add together to be 0, so let's get rid of those. Okay, let's go ahead and apply our exponent next. We need to square the I and square the square root of 3. Okay, remember from class, I squared is equivalent to negative 1. And the square root of 3 squared is just a 3. Okay, we're close to having our solution checked. We just need to do 4 times negative 1 is negative 4, times 3 is negative 12. Notice I have a true statement at the end. Negative 12 really is equal to negative 12. Okay, so that checks this solution. Remember, there's also another solution, negative 2 minus I square root of 3, and you can check that in a similar way. I'll leave those steps to you. Okay, what we find is that x equals negative 2 plus or minus I squared root of 3 truly is our solution.